Good evening. The time is 6:16 p.m. and the Leander Independent School Board Grievance Committee is now convened in a special board meeting on July 24th, 2026. The Board Grievance Committee this evening is comprised of Anna Smith, Trish Bode, and Sade Fashakhan. This meeting has been duly called and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. For special meetings, citizen comments are limited topics on the agenda. Tonight, we have 6 individuals signed up for citizens' comments. So what we will do is, before I invite tonight's speakers to the microphone, we're going to watch a short introductory video.
Hello, my name is Mira, and I'm an 8th grader at Cedar Park Middle School. The district and the Board of Trustees are the local government body responsible for serving the educational needs of all school children, like me and my friends here in Leander Independent School District. Their mission is to cultivate each individual student while creating a safe and supportive environment. The board is now taking up the citizen comment agenda item. This is the dedicated time during this meeting to hear from the whole community, and the entire LISD family is listening. The district believes that the Leander family thrives when we ensure a welcoming, safe, and caring environment. To our speakers, before you speak, we hope you have read the guidelines specified in the board operating procedures in the BED local. The board wants to hear from everyone. Please be mindful of your conduct and the example you are choosing to set while presenting complex information. Remember that school children of any age may participate in board meetings, either by watching them online or you might even see some of us in the audience. Still remember that there are other ways you can communicate with the board. You can send them an email or just tell them you want to chat sometime. When the board president calls your number, remember, watch the timer and focus on your remarks to the time allotted. We know it can be hard, but please conclude your comments when you hear the chime.
And now if I can get speakers 1 through 6 to please line up behind the microphone. And then whenever the speakers line up, then speaker 1, you may begin.
Tonight's meeting is about policy and civil rights. In the board handbook, we're supposed to be nice to each other and supportive. They are not nice and not supportive to me, Paul Gauthier, board member number 7. This board and administration has taken away my rights and privileges as a duly elected official, and they are acting in concert. In the beginning, I wasn't allowed to check my email at central office till Sheriff Gleason said I could. Later, I overheard from the receptionist, I forgot I usually just send them up. The other board members are allowed to just go up in the building as they enter. I am the only board member that has to be escorted to a meeting. That is discrimination. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, public accommodation, education, and employment. I am employed by the voters. I've had my civil rights violated. I have been treated differently. The board made a policy I couldn't visit schools without notifying the superintendent office, or I'll receive a trespassing violation. Literally, the cops would be called on me for trespassing if I violated the policy, and they also removed me from all committees. I take this very seriously. I take this job very seriously, and I take my civil rights are not ended when I walk through these doors.
Thank you, speaker number 1. Speaker number 2.
Greetings, board. My name is Daniel Chang. I'm a parent of a LISD student. He's a senior at Glenn, and regrettably, he's already started senioritis. So, the reason why I'm here is we've already talked about that it's going to be a Texas Open Meeting Act, and there are sometimes exceptions to the Texas Open Meeting Act, and I'll say that the exceptions don't apply. And I'm referring to Government Code Section 551.002. Every regular, special, or called meeting of the government body shall be open to the public except for these certain exceptions. One of them is called the personnel exception rule. And I just want to say that it's only if it's an individual. It doesn't apply if it's a collective governing body. A collective governing body does not count as an individual. The exception only applies if it's towards an individual. The grievance is to the entire board. So the rule is the board cannot use Section 551.074 to go into executive session, closed doors to deliberate about a complaint about their own collective decisions, policies, or board-wide actions. There's a legal precedent. It's rooted in definitive interpretations like the Texas Attorney General Opinion H-496, which explicitly notes that the personal exception is strictly limited to discussions about individual persons, not a collective
Thank you,
class,
speaker
group,
number 2.
or entire body.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Don Zimmerman, a local parent, fourth grader. My wife and I would never allow our fourth grader to attend a woke government school like Round Rock ISD or Leander ISD. I'm here to support Paul. He's a very decent man, and it's very obvious that the opposition to him comes from political differences. It's no secret that the government schools in Texas are incompetent, greedy, partisan, and seditious. And if you are a conservative parent, like Paul is, you're going to face opposition, not unlike what happened to Dr. Mary Bone and Danielle Weston. The way they were harassed and persecuted at the Round Rock ISD, similar thing has happened to Paul. It also goes with Jeremy Story, who now has a lawsuit against Round Rock ISD in federal court. But I want to end these comments with this. I know that you are supporting grooming teachers in classrooms. And as one of your officers, Treziak, said when he threatened to arrest me unlawfully, he said to me, "You will never succeed in removing that transgender teacher from class." And what I want to say to you is, you don't have to worry about me or Governor Abbott or the judges or the police or anybody else. Your problem is with the world's greatest teacher whom you unlawfully exclude for your so-called inclusive education.
Thank you, speaker number 3. Speaker number 4.
Good evening, Board. My name is Mike Sanders, and I'm here to speak on Agenda Item 3. It says closed session, Texas Government Code 551.082 and 551.074, hear and deliberate complaint concerning school district employees. So first, I want to call your attention to Texas Government Code 551.082, which says, and 551, by the way, is the Open Meetings Act in Texas. It says this chapter does not require a school board to conduct an open meeting to deliberate in a case involving discipline of a public school child. That's not the case tonight. Or in which a complaint or charge is brought against an employee by another employee. That's not the case tonight. Section 551.082 does not apply in any shape, form, or manner to this grievance that's being heard tonight. The other one is 551.074. It says this chapter does not require a government body to conduct an open meeting to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, and that's not what's being discussed tonight, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. The complaint is that one of the members of this Board of Trustees has been sexually harassed. He showed me his complaint. I see exactly what's written in the complaint. As I understand it, some of you are eyewitnesses to that sexual harassment, and which is odd that the people who are eyewitnesses to that sexual harassment are now.
Thank you,
hearing the
speaker
complaint.
number 4. Thank you. Speaker number 5. All right, speaker number 6. Whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Good evening, everyone. As we all know, school board members are elected officials chosen by local voters, and I feel that our representative has been hindered from doing his job because of intimidation and harassment. What I'm saying is that it seems like discrimination for personal and political reasons has taken place. I would personally hate to have to show up several times a month or communicate via email with my elected colleagues who may be disparaging me and causing these kinds of conflicts. This is a volunteer position, as we all know, and what a terrible place to work. but he had to be faithful to the citizens and residents who elected him, and more importantly, to the vision of making LISD and its students academically exceptional and job ready for their adulthood. There should be full and free discussion at every main motion, and I've seen on some board meetings where the microphone is literally swatted as if to say, your opinion doesn't matter, and so I did see that, and that's all I've got to say. Thanks.
Thank you, speaker number 6. And now we've concluded our citizen comments for tonight. The next item on the agenda is listed as a closed session topic. However, the grievant has requested the complaint to be heard in open meeting. Accordingly, the board will hear the grievance and deliberate the substance of this grievance in open meeting. The board may, however, convene in closed meeting if necessary to consult with this attorney regarding legal issues. So it is now, what is the time? It is July 24th. No, it's not. It's July 14th, 2026, and the time is 6:27 p.m. The Board Grievance Committee will now hear a grievance filed by Trustee Paul Gautier. Because the relief sought would require board action, this grievance is being initially heard through this evening by the Board Grievance Committee rather than through the typical administration review process. To ensure an accurate record of this proceeding, the district will be recording this meeting. The board will deliberate and take action, if any, in open meeting. I am Anna Smith, the board president, and a quorum of the Board Grievance Committee is present. The Board Grievance Committee acts under authority of the full Leander ISD School Board, which delegated full decision-making authority to the committee in accordance with Leander ISD Board Operating Procedures and Texas Education Code 26A.001. We are assisted tonight by our legal counsel, Ms. Holly Wardell and Ms. Tammy Marrett, who will serve as the official timekeeper of the proceeding. Because this is the initial hearing of the grievance and there is no underlying administration decision being applied, tonight's grievance will deviate from our usual process for complaints. The grievant in this case, Trustee Paul Gautier, will present his complaint to the committee. During this presentation, I ask that all parties refrain from speaking over others so that the record accurately reflects all statements made. I also ask that board members refrain from interrupting. When the grievant has concluded his presentation, the administration will then have the opportunity to add information if they would like, or the board may have questions for the grievant or administration. Please note this is not a formal evidentiary hearing. There will be no calling of witnesses or cross-examination. Additionally, please be advised that if you change or add issues, evidence, or different requests for relief in this appeal, your grievance may be remanded back to the lower level to develop an adequate record and address the new matters as provided by Texas Education Code Section 26A.001. Trustee Gautier will have 15 minutes to present his case. Ms. Mariette, our timekeeper, will provide a 1-minute warning before the time expires. After the grievant has presented his case, committee members may ask for clarifications. Following any questions, Trustee Gautier has 3 minutes to provide a closing statement, and if desired. Ms. Mariette will provide a 1-minute warning before time expires. Are there any questions regarding the conduct of this hearing? All right. There are no questions. Trustee Gautier, you may now make your presentation.
Hi, my name's Brandy Berkman, and I'm here to support Trustee Gautier. I'm not sure if any of y'all have read Section 26A.001. I did hear you reference it, the grievance policy and all of it. But I wanted to point out Section D. The Board of Trustees of a school district may delegate the authority to hear and decide a grievance to a committee of at least 3 members composed only of members of the Board of Trustees. Then later on, Section 2, require a person involved in reviewing a grievance under the policy to recuse himself or herself from reviewing the grievance if the person is a subject of the grievance. I believe that all 3 of you have been involved. I believe that all 3 of you were in the room when he was sexually harassed. Some of you were named in that original grievance. All 3 of you voted on May 23rd, 24, to implement the trespassing rules against Paul only. And at that time, y'all actually edited the wrong policy. And then I believe that all 3 of you, again, voted in August to edit the correct policy. So that would make all 3 of you subject to his grievance. And therefore, y'all can't make quorum, and you can't hear this. So I'm sure that you'll probably go ahead, but this should be bumped up to TEA instead of you because you're all implicated. And I'll let Paul go ahead and continue.
Thank you. When I was going around to schools, Dr. Gearing would come with me, and I couldn't get him to stop. I couldn't come. Every time when we went to a school, it was added a chilling effect. And so one day I took it upon myself after being invited to go to a bus garage, and this is documented at that May meeting in 2024. I went and was invited and talked to some people, and then I decided to go to some other schools and tell them what was going on. Well, a week later we had a meeting, and you were quite upset with me for doing that because I was telling them the truth. We are being mismanaged by the current board, and I wanted them to know it. So you took it upon yourselves to implement a 6-1 vote. I voted against it, that we had to let the superintendent know anytime we were on campus for any reason, and that any person would be allowed in the public to call the police and have me arrested because I've been warned for trespassing. Well, recently this spring, I had my computer worked on, and I stopped at New Hope High School that was right across the street from the computer building. And within a few moments, apparently, I didn't look at my phone right away, but Dr. Clark wondered why I was there. Is there a problem? You all have no idea what it's like to even think about accidentally making a wrong turn, getting on school property, of which we have lots, and being the subject of such harassment by you, being warned by you that I might be going to jail because of it. I think it's a break of my civil rights. Every time you do something against me, I feel like you are doing it against my constituents. Every single time, to the bottom of my heart. Every time you break my civil rights, I do not leave them at the door. They still come with me. They are God-given, inalienable rights. They have a right to be here. I was duly elected, and for you to strip away my committee rights, to strip away my ability to simply go into a school and to have the superintendents or anyone call the police on me. I've asked the local police, and they said, well, they're the governing body, and while we don't really agree with it, if someone came up, they could arrest you. You don't worry about that. You have never had to worry about that. I bet there are no logs that anyone has called the cops on you or the superintendent to call you. And at one point, I thought it was something interesting. The whole thing said I needed to get a hold of the superintendent's office. Well, back on November the 12th, I did, and Dr. Gearing was superintendent, and he said in a reply, well, I need to talk to Anna, and then she'll get back to you. First of all, you never got back to me, and this whole proceedings has been very troubling. I brought my wife in as support because when I'd come home and she'd see how affected I was, that I wasn't able to do the job that I was hired to do. And you know what the straw was? It really was. When I went to the school, I wasn't supposed to even be there, and I told Dr. Clark for the meeting, you want me to be at a meeting? Okay. Zoom meeting? I'd rather be in person, frankly. And he's like, sure, come on in. So I came to the meeting. I went to the meeting, and that's where I found out at the district office, not only is there a different system of just going to school districts in general, there is a total different format when you come into the building at central office. And what I asked for, you didn't give me any evidence that anyone doesn't have to do. I think it's one of those rules that's written and then unwritten against me, conspiring against me in concert with the district staff.
And anyone that says, well, I was just following orders, that is not going to save you in a court of law. If you're just following orders, that is not going to save you. But there I was. I signed in at 9:59 for a 10 o'clock meeting right behind a fellow trustee who was apparently wasn't in the room. And I went and they said, well, just sit down. And then I overheard the receptionist say, oh, that's right, I forgot. I normally just let them up. Them being us board members. Them being you all, none being me. That is discrimination. That is the back of the bus. That is Jim Crow laws. That is baloney for what I believe and what I stand for. And it wasn't until after they had realized I was downstairs and they had forgotten about me in the meeting that one of the secretaries came down to get me. I cannot tell you how frustrating that is for myself and constituents when I tell them that story. From the very beginning, even just looking at emails in the district office, and I had to finally talk to the local sheriff, Sheriff Gleason, to let me get the okay that they wouldn't just call the police on me. Well, of course, now we have our own police force, so do I trust you? No, I don't trust any of you for any reason. You have given me no reason to trust you. This discrimination case is honest and true, and you all have been discriminated against me, conspiring against me, making rules against me. I bet, because I doesn't get those rules, or the logs, from who you're supposed to call every time you go onto a campus that isn't your child's campus, you don't have a record anywhere where anyone called on you. I seemingly have them. I have several of them. Especially back when it was Dr. Gearing. What are you doing there? What are you doing there? What are you doing there? Who's calling on me? That's discrimination. That is blatant discrimination. I'm trying to do my job. I have been honest with this community. And frankly, I've been pretty honest with myself. Paul, why are you here? Why do you even care? In fact, I quit the same day Francesca did. You want to believe that? I did. I sent out a couple text messages to a couple of you, and Bruce and Dr. Gearing inexplicably texted me back. And it wasn't about what he said. He wasn't like, Paul, we need you. It was just, he replied back. And it was Bruce that has kept me here, if you believe that. Honest to gosh, I couldn't believe it, because I was like, Bruce, you know what? I rescind that. He's like, oh, okay. And that was all before I even knew that Francesca had quit. It was a crazy day, an absolute crazy day. Thank you, Dr. Gearing. And you can thank Dr. Gearing for I'm here, and thank Dr. Gearing for this grievance hearing, because I had never known that there was such a rule that Paul had to be escorted to go into the building while others in the board were simply allowed. That is simply unacceptable. That's all I have to say.
I want to make sure you get your full 15 minutes. Are you done?
I didn't see a counter in front of me, so I have no
The
idea.
instructions, you have under 5, the instructions at the beginning said that she'd give you a 1-minute warning.
Thank you. I'll wait for anything I have to say in the 3-minute rebuttal.
All right, I will now ask if the committee members have questions for either the grievant or the administration.
I'll start. So regarding your experience at the administrative building, did you talk to any other board members to see how their experience is when they go visit?
I have not
Okay.
talked to any board members other than Trish since I have been on the board. And then there was one call I did for you.
Mhm.
I talked to you about something that was, I thought, fairly important at the time. I think it was maybe school closures. Other than that, me and the board do not talk. We do not communicate. In fact, I haven't talked to the board president in over 3 years. When Trish was the board president, that was the last time I talked to any of the board members. In fact, President Anna has told me the only time she would talk to me is if it's through official email.
So the reason why I ask that is because if you indicate that you're being treated differently, then you need to check with other people that you actually are being treated differently. Because as a board officer, or even just for other reasons, I get to go to have scheduled in-person meetings in the admin building. And what you described, as soon as I check in, I write my name down and I tell them why I'm there and who I'm there to visit. And then they tell me to wait. And then someone comes from upstairs. They escort me to the elevator. They ask me, if you want to walk up the stairs, we have to walk you up the stairs. If not, we'll take you to the elevator. They will use their card because our badges don't work with the elevator. So that brings the elevator down, and as soon as I get in and the doors close, then they leave. And there's somebody else waiting for me upstairs. It happens like that all the time.
That's a fabulous experience. You must feel very welcomed. When I
So
go to the
it's not
district
very-
office,
it's not very
I'm not
different.
welcomed.
Okay.
When I go to the district office, I'm not welcomed.
I have a question or clarification for our administration. Can you please state what is the proper protocols for board members to request visits on campus?
For a requested visit, they arrange that through the superintendent's office, and the point of contact is Cindy Anderson to make an arrangement. The vast majority of time, that's done due to an invitation we've sent out for a board member to participate in some type of event. However, if a board member wants to initiate a visit at a campus, they can call Cindy or email or chat with her, and she'll set that up.
And also for clarification, every week board members get a board memo, correct? And in those board memos is a list of invites from across the district, and every board member has access to those invites, correct?
Yes, each week Cindy, so principals, different department leaders, whoever's arranging some event that they would like to have a board member present, send those to Cindy, who is the point of contact for this. Those are compiled. It's usually a fairly lengthy list, 15 or 20 items per week. And then if a board member wants to attend one of those, they let her know, and she adds a Google Calendar appointment and sends that to the board member so it is on their calendar as well.
Dr. Clark, how long have you been the superintendent of LISD?
I'm sorry, you cannot do that. That is not your time right now. We're going to follow the rules.
I just want to clarify what is the grievance. I think you had a spokesperson speak about what the grievance was in front of us, but when I'm looking at this grievance, the grievance that I'm seeing here is that you feel that trustees are treated differently from you based on experience. You said 627. According to the sign-in chart, it was 527. I think that's the event, because I'm looking, and that's the time you signed in at 9:59. So if I'm gonna assume a typo in your handwriting, it says that the grieving part that you're saying is that you wrote 9:59 and you weren't allowed to go up. This is what you're grieving. And you're grieving the fact that one of our staff members, it sounds like, when I say our staff members, it's the district staff members,
One of the receptionists.
said to you,
No, it's one of the other receptionists.
so you're standing there, or you sit down,
I was sitting about 10 feet away, maybe.
and she says to the other receptionist, I forgot, I usually just send them up.
That's right.
And then what does she do? I mean, if she forgot, she usually just sends you up, then what does she, I'm having a hard time understanding what you're grieving.
I was told to wait. I was told. See, there's rules and then there's unwritten rules.
I mean,
That's seemingly
I'm still
an
having a
unwritten
hard time
rule
figuring that, okay.
that I have to wait always.
Y-
I never have had the respect that my role should be given and the trust
that if I were to come into central office, even to check my email, do you remember that part, me telling you that? I had to go to Sheriff Gleason, and the reason I asked Dr. Clark how long he's been there, because he hasn't been the administrative head. That before was Dr. Gearing. And so what you've done now in the last 6 months, you know, it'd be kind of interesting to see what for that purpose of the school part is. But the one thing that seemed very consistent from the very beginning is if I come into the public building, I'm treated differently.
I just don't.
And again and again. And Trish, I am just tired of it. My people are tired of it. They get treated
people?
differently.
Your people?
My constituents. Who hired me? That is part of my complaint.
Who hired you?
The people
Hired
who
you?
voted for me.
Oh, elected. Well, I guess my question is because as a trustee, when I go into the district office, I also have to sit if somebody's not ready to come get me. So I've also sat. And then when they come get me, then they take me. So the thing that you're saying, it does not correspond with my experience. So I'm trying to find.
For a small few times, I can see there's a drip that you can
Okay.
easily just wipe away. For me, this drip has been very constant and continuous from the very beginning. And you can understand a little contentiousness as I point out fact after fact after fact. 15 minutes, I could go on for 2 hours.
I think I do want to go back to May 20.
But I was trying to just stick to what I wrote
Yeah.
so that we wouldn't be besieged by me and the stack of
I
papers
think we
I
should
have at
definitely
home.
make sure that we cover what you said as well in your testimony, which is that you show up to campuses and you seem to think that's okay.
It's a public building. You can go to the front door, and that's where we're supposed to check in, isn't it?
Remember, we're not supposed to talk over
Paul,
each
can
other.
we please let Trish ask her question, and then you can answer? This is your first warning.
On May 23rd, 2024, after repeated times of, from what I understand, and from based on our discussions, the board had asked you several times to not just randomly show up to campuses. There are reasons trustees are not allowed. And at that time, there was a motion that it said, in light of Trustee Gautier's continued willful disregard for the LISD board operating procedures, I move that board policy BE local be amended to include language from the board operating procedures about trustee visits to district facilities. I mind you that we all are under the same rules for trustee visits to district facilities. But Paul Gautier, because of continued willful disregard, was removed at that time from all district and board committees, and the board hereby authorized the superintendent and other appropriate administrators to file criminal trespass complaints against trustee Gautier if he continued attempt to gain unauthorized entry into school facilities. And the board directed the superintendent to notify all district administrators and supervisors that Paul Gautier was not permitted to attend staff meetings or otherwise enter classrooms or buildings unless he had made prior arrangements through the office of the superintendent, and that the board officers work with the district communication team to deliver the message to the staff about the appropriate role of school board trustees. Do you remember where the school board and members and you had a discussion on inappropriate visits, harassing or scaring our staff and students making inappropriate visits to campus?
Wow, there's a lot of things there.
No,
First
it's
of
just
all,
yes or
what
no.
is-
Do you remember a discussion? You can say no if you don't remember a discussion.
I remember being harassed. Yes.
I asked if you remembered
I
this
remember being
discussion.
harassed.
I will just take that as a non-answer. Thank you.
I said yes.
So I have a question regarding district facilities, just building on that. And it has to do with, like, we are 7 trustees. Have you thought about a situation where if we all just randomly show up, I mean, they are working. The principals are working, teachers are working, the students are busy learning, there's other staff there. If you show up, I mean, it's pretty disruptive just to show up. And that's why we need to work with, or the admin rather, needs to work with the principal to schedule something. And that way they make sure that it is a day that works for them, a time that's convenient for them. just showing up in and out, it is disruptive to their day-to-day business and their work.
Is there a question there?
My question was, have you thought about that?
Well, since it's fairly open-ended, let me tell you a nice story. I was told by the PTA at Whitestone Elementary they have rocks for a playground. And she asked if I could stop by. I live near that elementary. I stopped by. I talked to the principal. We looked at the rocks in the back, realizing we actually have a fair amount in our bond funds to change their ground to something better than rocks. I'd been told by that PTA member that kids actually had hurt themselves and gone to the hospital. I care about this district like you wouldn't believe. That I would actually put myself in your harm's way to visit a campus where I was asked to be because they said, Paul, there's a problem. A little while later, from that still instance, Dr. Gearing was quite upset with me. Why was I at that campus without his knowledge? Well, Dr. Gearing, there's a lot of things. Why would I tell you everything? But that man would not leave me alone. In fact, one night at one of the meetings here, one of the superintendent's super kids, I forget the acronym you love to put on the kids, but he wanted to talk to me specifically in one of our meetings. We were in Concordia, and I said, sure, let's go walk outside. We walked outside. Dr. Gearing walked out with us. I asked him to leave. This gentleman wanted to talk to me, and he said, well, I want to hear what he has to say. The harassment that this board, the superintendent is a part of the board, I have received is beyond comprehension for my voters and myself and my family, because every time I get worried about something, I'm wondering, how am I going to do it? How am I going to visit without someone calling the cops on me? You never have to think about that. So yes, to answer your question, I think about it all the time. In fact, at that meeting, which I finally was up to, which I was almost 10 minutes late for, I said in the meeting to board member Nelson, I said, if you guys let me tomorrow, I would go to all 47 schools the very next day. And Dr. Clark said, well, that's not going to happen. Thanks for the welcome. Because I care enough to actually go to the schools and find out what's going on. So, to answer your question again, I care very deeply about.
But when they do invite us using board memo, do you attend those events and have those discussions with them when you were invited that way?
I have, but I found that those memos, a lot of times the administration is there, including and/or sometimes the superintendent, the boss. I've been there. You shake your head, but that is my answer. I have been there, and the superintendent was there, and to some of those, and since we don't talk, you have no idea if I've ever been there, and the superintendent was there, and it has a chilling effect. The superintendent is the boss. We are the boss of them. That's how this works, and the superintendent has a chilling effect for the people telling me what actually is going on, their fear of reprisal.
I have a question, Paul. How often do you check your Leander ISD email?
Often enough.
So then you would have saw on 7/30 of 2025 that I invited you to the backpack attack with all the other board members to attend. And I was like, bring an inflatable, it'll be fun. No response. Then I saw your email on 12/25 asking about what to do on committees. I responded to you and I told you exactly what to do. It's all public information, you can request it. I told you exactly what to do, and I also invited you to that board retreat that next weekend. And I said, Paul, you come to that board retreat, or I even sent you the information about the Texas for Excellence in Education training they had. I made it very clear to you in that email what you needed to do
What
to
was the
get.
day of the board
I'm talking right now. I made it very clear to you what you needed to do to get back on committees. That I'm talking, and when I'm done, you can finish. And if you're not going to let me, I will remove you. I gave you clear instructions on what to do for that committee and how to get back on. You chose not to follow that. That's all in board operating procedures. Then, 2 meetings ago, you came up to me here on the dais in front of the entire room and asked me, hey, Board President Anna, I'd really like to serve on committees. What can I do? I referenced that 12-2 email, and I also explained that you would have to get caught up in training, that there's tons of different ways and avenues to get caught up on training. You chose not to do that. That's the barrier for you for not sitting on committees. Dr. Clark, I have a, go ahead, I'm sorry, you can respond and then I have a follow-up.
I would say that's the, okay. Is that policy?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat the policy number that I have to complete board training?
It's in our board operating procedures. And it was part of the May 24th meeting where we said that. It's all there. And I wrote an email to you clarifying that. You chose not to take any action on that email. You had the opportunity after December 2nd to get the training, come to that board retreat. You could have been on committees right now, but you chose not to answer that email. You chose not to take the following steps. So my question is, how often do you check your email?
I check it as often as anybody else.
Thank you.
So I have a follow-up question about training, because I vaguely remember the last 2 times that you've read at meetings how everybody has kept up with their training or not. Your training log has been pretty much empty. Is there a reason why you haven't taken the recommended training? And it's not recommended by us, it's recommended by TEA.
Well, there's a couple of reasons in there. First of all, you can't kick me off for not having the training. There's only 2 ways you can get kicked off. You got to create a crime, public drunkenness, or there's a fun one, which I looked at not too long ago. You have to run somebody over with a tractor, and then you can be kicked off.
Kicked off what? Can you clarify?
The board.
Oh, but you're not kicked off the board, we're just talking about training.
I know. So there's not enforcement with it, is my point. You're missing the point. There's no enforcement to any of it. TEA says you got to do this. There's a law that you have to do it, but there's no enforcement of those said laws. And frankly, I can't, at the night, and this is really hard. But thank you for bringing that up. I've been wanting someone to bring that up for years.
Yes.
What is, you want to know why? I'll tell you why. You really want to know why?
It's okay, I mean.
Because I was sexually harassed by the board. And you all lied at that 5/23/24 meeting and said it didn't happen. I have Holly on a tape. I have Bruce on a tape. I sent it to the TEA. And the TEA slow-walked my information past a 2-year window. I went down there 4 times. I emailed them so many times my fingers bled. Hey, are you going to look at this? So would I love to have a meeting with the TEA right now to ask why I don't have any training? Yeah, because I've yet to actually talk to somebody in person with the TEA about such things, or anything for that matter. So that is why I have not done training. You can't kick me off. And I have been wanting to have some form of open record, which I have been denied at Stop River Stop. I put in an affidavit, which is up to 5 years in jail if I was to lie, which is interesting. None of you have tried to sue me because of such evidence that I do have. I can prove it happened. And frankly, Sade, the only reason I didn't put you on the original affidavit was because I wasn't looking to my left. That's the only reason, if you ever wondered why. I didn't look to my left. We were sitting in kind of a square. Holly was sitting about where she is now. You were to her right. Next was Francesca, Christine, Anna, Gloria, and then over was Bruce,
and between Bruce and Holly was Trish. You know, it's interesting when you go through a traumatic experience, you can recall it like nothing else because you were there and you relived it, and you have had moments when you're looking at family and they are dressed really nice.
I just want clarification. You are refusing to get the identifying, reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children because TEA doesn't require you to do that? It's a yes or no question. Because you've been deficient for 3 years in that training. Yes or no?
I've been waiting for the TEA to ask me that.
Yes or no, Paul?
I've been waiting for the TEA
Got
to
it.
ask me that.
Sorry, a quick clarifying question. During graduation this year, last month or in May, you had asked to change the seating arrangement. How did you want the seating arrangement to
Because I
look?
don't want to sit next to you. I don't
Next to
trust
me?
you. No, the entire board.
Oh,
You all have lied, you've sexually harassed me, you've covered it up.
so you
And so I
wanted,
did not want to sit next to any of you. I don't trust you,
that's,
and I didn't want to be anywhere near you. In fact, what I asked is to just be off to the side, so when the kids came through, I could be off to the side, last, second to last, somewhere in there where I'm not standing next to you.
so next to, even if you're last, you'll still be next to a board member. The change that I saw was actually you in between two other board members. You wanted to change who those board members were.
Had nothing to do with an individual board member, it had to do with the entire board.
You
You
wanted-
all have
you
lied.
wanted-
I
you
don't
wanted
trust
to-
you.
you
My
wanted to
heart
sit-
jumps out every time we go into the closed session.
You wanted to
Because
sit,
I'm waiting for the next time you're going to ask me how long my genitals are and whether or not I can satisfy my wife. That is what you said.
Paul, we're going to
That
let
is
her
what you
finish
said.
so
asking
you
for,
wanted to, you
please.
wanted to sit in between Gloria and Anna, isn't that correct, during graduation? Because that's not how it was set up, but you changed the seating arrangement.
Didn't want to sit near any of you, is how I said. Who told you that? Who told you that? Because I told the only one, where's Paul Johnson? He was your spokesperson. He kept telling me, the purview of the board is this. Well, my purview is I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all. I don't want to sit next to you. I think standing next to you and how you treat the school district is a complete embarrassment.
And did you use the B words to refer to board members? It's a yes or no question.
What?
I said, did you use the B word to refer to some board members during graduation?
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to hear the what?
Did you use the B word to refer to some board members during graduation?
Be as in what?
I'm not saying it.
How is this relevant exactly? Like,
I'm just wanting, what happened? Did we have, I'm just trying to get a better sense. The board was not aware of that, and so I'm just trying to get better understanding what happened.
On May 1st, 2026, I was notified that Paul had shown up to New Hope High School and was asking, this is what was reported to me, about TEA limitations on the New Hope High School, the number of students that could be in the school or in that building, and the need to expand that program. The way I interpreted it is he was interested in expanding it, but why would TEA limit us? Something along those lines. Staff expressed concern that Mr. Gautier may be under the influence of some type of substance. I was not present. I'm reporting what was reported to me. I texted Paul at 11:29 a.m. that morning when I found out. The text said, I was told you were at New Hope. Is there something, I'm going to read the exact lettering or wording to you. I was told you were at New Hope High School. Is there something you need? At At that time, he had already left, so I didn't go over there. I think he was gone by the time I was notified anyway. Paul responded to my text 4 hours and 12 minutes later at 3:41 p.m. And then called me at 4 p.m. I was in a meeting, but I stepped out and talked to him. We were on the phone for about 30 minutes, and he was upset about me questioning his presence there. I reiterated that all board members are required to follow the same procedures. He indicated that his right for it to ever be no response. I had to get back into my meeting, so I asked if we could go to lunch the next week and talk through some of this, figure out a way for him to visit schools, just asking him to arrange those through the office, the same way we ask every board member to do, unless that board member is a parent at the school where they are going. If they're acting in the role of a parent, they can go to the school without notifying me. They don't have to get permission to have a parent conference with their children's teachers or anything. And that day, that was about the end of it. We did have a few text exchanges about that later on. I don't know if you want to know all that or not, but it was more just him expressing his frustration.
So for clarification, that staff member did not feel safe and they did write a report of that interaction?
I don't know
No.
if they said.
But they did write a report,
They
correct?
did write
Okay, that's what I needed to
They
know.
did document their concerns. I don't know if they actually used the word.
Okay, I apologize. I
felt
don't want to
safe.
put that in
Yeah,
there.
They may have. I just need to go back and reread it. Yeah.
And then, Dr. Clark, I have a question
Yes.
regarding, because I started off trying to look at what is a difference or a disparate treatment. And I think about the day that, and this is not even a district facility, but there just happened to be district work that was going on there. It was the day that Trish and I, at the invitation of the judge, went to watch a truancy hearing. Knowing that we're both very, very interested in understanding truancy, absenteeism, and chronic absenteeism. And so we had lots of district staff were there. And we showed up, and I still had my cell phone on me because it was way before the hearing was starting. And you sent me a text message. Do you remember what you sent in that text message, roughly?
I roughly remember, I think I sent it to you and Trish both and said, hey, I was told you guys are at truancy court. Is there anything I can help you with or something along those lines?
All right, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And can I ask for clarification of that? Because per our board operating procedures, when a board member does violate those, the superintendent has to inform the board president, and you did inform me of that.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And per our board operating procedures, I followed those rules. I have another question, maybe for Sean, perhaps, I'm not quite sure. We keep hearing about a TEA complaint that was happened. Would you have any knowledge whether, like, the ending of that dismissed, was the district CC'd in on that? What is that? I know we got something from TEA. I was just wondering, do you have like did y'all get any official correspondence?
I actually think that your board counsel was more directly involved in that particular matter.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, we have that file. It was dismissed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm processing what the grievance is saying. Their concern is they weren't given equal treatment because they had to wait to gain access to the district office. And then the harm, it said, is that they feel that there are separate rules for board members other than Trustee Gautier. I'm still processing. I know I have to sign up for events. I have to be escorted. I have to get training, Trustee Gautier, according to the information we're looking at, even on October 23rd was still deficient in 2025. I have to follow TEA rules. It is state rules. It is a law. You do need to follow it, and you need to follow their training requirements. It seems to me that you just want special treatment to show up on campus whenever you want, to not do the training required by the state, to not do a job as a trustee. Is that correct or incorrect?
Can I chime in here?
Is this a correct or incorrect? You can tell me if I'm incorrect, that's fair.
It's not on policy.
What, it's not in policy
The
to do
trainings,
training?
it's not, no.
It's required under state law,
But
under
it's-
the statute.
But it has nothing to do with the visits.
With
I'm looking at the local policy.
I
I'm looking
understand.
at
The
state level
question, let me make sure
policy.
the question you heard is, trustees have requirements. They have trainings they have to do. They have to do the things that the states required them.
What's the
Do you
penalty?
want separate treatment? And
What's the penalty?
Do you not want to do the
It's
trainings?
state law. I'm asking you a question, yes or no.
Do
What's
you-
the penalty?
We're not going back and forth
You
here.
don't have to ask me questions. You put the grievance and you said you don't like being treated specially, but it seems like you want special treatment.
No, I
Yes or no? Do you want to do the training required by law?
I am doing the best I can under the circumstances with being surrounded at board meetings by sexual harassers.
Okay, I think we should
and
also
who have-
clarify the
who have-
trainings don't require all the time for you to be at board meetings. In fact, I just completed a training required by law, sent to all of us and Cindy via email, where you simply watched a video and self-reported. There are several trainings that are required by law as a trustee to do what you are elected to do. And your statement is that you don't want to take those trainings?
No, I want to talk to
because
the TEA is my statement.
you're
My
not going to take the
statement
training
is I
until you
want
can
to
talk
talk
to
to the
TE.
TEA.
Only until you can talk to them, you're going to take your trustee training. Do you want
I would
special
like to
treatment?
talk, no, I do not want special treatment.
Okay.
What I want is simply to talk to the TEA, and
All
for
right.
some strange reason,
Thank you
they have
for
not.
answering my question about your desire to do the training. I have one more question. This paperwork looks very similar to something that you handed to Chris at a board meeting. Did you give him this paperwork and fill it out during a board meeting?
I did.
And then after you left the board meeting? Yes or no?
How is that exactly relevant to the
Did you
grievance?
stay and do your job?
Oh, that's it. Finally. Did I stay and do my job next to the people who sexually harassed me and have lied about it this
So you
entire
can
time?
sit next to us
It is
to fill
very
out
difficult.
paperwork
You
while
want
we're
to
meeting?
you want to normalize it. You want to think it's okay. It's not okay.
This is not a speech,
It's not
it's a-
okay. It is not okay to sexually harass anybody. It's
Paul,
not
this was a
okay.
yes or no question. We're going to keep to the grievance process here.
Well, how is the relevance to that part? Because
All right,
I
any
do a
board
great
members, do you
job.
have any other
There it is.
questions?
I do a great job.
Yes, I do have a question.
I thought it was the last question.
We just adopted student outcomes, focusing on their academics in a trustee meeting. You were there. I just want you to tell me two of the goals that we adopted as a board, focusing on academics. Just name me two. You don't even have to tell me the percentages. Just tell me what the goals were about.
Fantastic. Let me tell you something and ask you the question.
No, Paul, we're
Oh,
not
that's
going
not
to
how
do
it
that.
works?
This
Oh,
is your
okay.
second warning.
Okay.
Third grade.
All right, we're going to go
Third
into
grade
recess.
meeting.
You're
We're going into
Grade
recess.
math. CCMR, focus on the students.
All right, it is 7:19 and we're back from our recess. Board members, do you have any other questions? No other questions? Great. The grievant may now have 3 minutes to make a closing statement if he'd like. It is not required. Trustee Gauthier, would you like to make a closing statement?
I sure do.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
I documented an interaction I had at one of the training sessions. I went to Galveston, and a board member said they were a hugger when I dropped them off. I thought that was very inappropriate. I blocked their hug. I said, no thank you, have a good night. And while trainings are seemingly particular, I'm sure there's some sort of ideal smear campaign. It's what it sounds like, because that doesn't seem to be relevant, although you're trying to say how much I am a trustee, how much I care. I think I've told you how much I care. And then I was told by Dr. Clark, if I go tomorrow, I'd go 47, all schools the next day. I'd do my best. And he said, well, that's not going to happen. The trust that I have with the board, I don't have it. I don't want to be in a room, in a situation where you're going to accuse me of something like you have here tonight. Someone said I was on some sort of drugs or medication, or I don't know. Well, that's false. And did they had any proof? It was just them behind a glass wall, because we have security measures at all our schools, and you can't get past there without someone buzzing you in. Isn't that correct? Yes, it is. And that's why when someone reported me, is that I had already left because I'd only been there a couple minutes. I wasn't trying to gain access. I was trying to tell them, because I, a few weeks before, had tried to help someone get into New Hope High School. And I can read you. Hi, Mr. Gauthier.
1 minute warning.
This is the principal at New Hope High School. Just calling to let you know that I got your message, but it's been, I guess, a little over a week. We still haven't heard from the family of the 20-year-old who's looking for a diploma, so I just wanted to circle back with you. I would love to chat with you and the family and get to know the situation. See if there's something we can do within the confines of our program, because we still serve 20-year-old students. I am doing the job. I am the job. I believe in the kids, and I witnessed some of the board members laughing after it was revealed for this latest Superintendent Super Kids about the 84% of the hiring managers in the skills division who said high school students aren't worth hiring.
Time's up.
Thank you. Administration, would you like to make any closing remarks?
I do want to clarify the comment about, I did say that's not going to happen. What I was referring to is the board operating procedures are not going to change and allow him to visit all 47 schools the next day. That was the point of that comment. Just now, I think Trustee Gauthier was referring to a phone message he received from the principal at New Hope High School. He did reach out to me about a personal friend with trying to help a personal friend of his son get their high school diploma or GED. I don't remember which one. I connected him with Christina, the principal at New Hope High School. So he did follow the procedures in that situation, and she was trying to connect with him to help. I just want to clarify that I think the principal there is willing to do things like that, wants to do things. I know the principal there is willing and wants to do those types of things if we just follow the procedures so she knows that she's doing what she's supposed to. I think that's important to note. We want to work with all board members as administrators. And I'm speaking for campus principals. it makes a lot of us nervous because we don't want to go against any board member. But we also know that there are procedures that have to be followed. We are very busy during the day. I often am scheduled back-to-back meetings. Principals are even busier than me working with students and teachers. That is the whole purpose for the scheduled meetings, and it's just so important for all board members to do that, and we reiterate that to our principals all the time so that they know that they have the support of me in terms of holding everyone accountable for that. That's our goal. And if trustees have concerns that are brought to them, if you just bring those to us, then we will take care of them. We want to know those concerns. That's our role as administrators. We will do our part, and the board can do the governance side of things. And so, thank you.
The presentations are now concluded. The board must render its decision within 30 days. In this matter, because there's no written decision in the record, the committee will need to issue a written decision. Do committee members have any questions or comments before we convene in closed meeting to consult with the board's attorney regarding legal issues related to the complaint? Nope. Nope. Okay. The board will now enter closed meeting under the authority of Texas Government Code Section 551-071 for the purpose of consulting with its attorney. Any deliberation on the substance of this grievance and action will be made when the committee returns to open meeting. It is 8:02 p.m. and we are returning to open meeting. No action was taken during closed meeting. Do I have a motion regarding this grievance, or is there any discussion?
I'll start with the discussion. So, board member training is required by state law. And during our oath of office as trustees, we do agree to uphold the laws of the state. The board also knows the value of board training, and this training, we find that it informs our work as we participate on board committees. And so it is within the board authority to require training, to be, to participate on policy committees, especially when year after year after year, those trainings are completely deficient. It makes a mockery of the state law. And as it relates to my thoughts about the allegation about two-tier treatment, there's no two-tier or there's no disparate treatment. As it relates to visiting admin buildings, as it relates to visiting district facilities, Trish and I were able to show today that we had the exact same experience as you did. So those are my comments.
My comments but they do stem from the board agenda item on 5/24/23, the authority of Paul Gautier. That board agenda item came about because Trustee Gautier was not following proper board procedures. One of those procedures included showing up at Rouse High School at the back gate, went up to a student where it's locked and said, "Hey, do you know who I am? Let me in." The student said no. He said, "Do you know who I am?" He proceeded to give him his trustee business card and said, "I should come in." Administration was consulted during that time. Another time happened was he showed up at transportation during a big transportation staffing meeting, proceeded to sit on the floor and cry. He was a disruption for over an hour, and we had to stop our meeting, not us, transportation had to stop their meeting to be able to deal with Paul Gautier crying in the middle of a very important transportation staffing meeting. In addition to that, Paul Gautier also decided that he would try to intimidate board members and show up at individual board members' campuses where their kids resided. Another incident happened on 5/17. He showed up at Larkspur Elementary, Vandergriff High School, Henry Middle School, North Elementary, Cox Elementary, and Transportation Central, all demanding to get in, and I quote from the meeting, "I am there to evaluate and interview staff to find the dirt." During that meeting, board members explained that our job is not to evaluate and find the dirt on staff, where Paul Gautier then admitted publicly on the record that is his job. Furthermore, this board put together that agenda item because board members have to follow those board operating procedures. That is what keeps us in our lane. Most importantly, the false allegations that were mentioned tonight have been dismissed by Leander Police Department and TEA. I also want to make it clear that I have heard, and I have written response, that Paul Gautier, trustee, likes to refer to the women on the board as the word, excuse me, I have to make sure I write this right. He refers to women on the board, the B word that rhymes with witch. And it has been caught numerous times by staff members and board members and community members at board meetings. That's all I have to say.
Board members, I took some time to look over legal policy, local policy, and our board operating procedures. Under BBD legal, it says that a trustee must complete any training required by the State Board of Education. That's actually found in the State Education Code 11.159. That the continuing education required under the Education Code 11.159 applies to each member of the board. Under BBD legal, under reporting, the last regular board meeting before an election, the board president shall announce the name of each board member who has completed the required continuing education. The president shall also cause the minutes to reflect that, and if the trustee is deficient, which as we've discussed tonight, Paul Gautier was, then not only shall the district post that on the district's internet website, but it has to maintain the posting until the trustee meets the requirements. Tonight in testimony, although there have been several times, according to you, Anna has also reached out to talk about the requirements for training. They still have not yet been met. Under BBDB legal, there's also an addition to the continuing education requirements set out. Each board member has to continue and complete additional continuing education based on the framework for school board development. The purpose of that education is to help trustees do their job and know what their lane is. The continuing education shall be completed annually. Under BBD legal, board members are also supposed to be trained on how to evaluate student academic performance, setting individual campus goals for early childhood literacy, mathematics, and college and career and military readiness. The purpose of this training is, again, to help trustees do their job and stay in their lane. It provides research-based information to board members that is designed to support the oversight role, the role of what trustees are supposed to be doing, which is outlined in the Education Code 11.1515. Also, the purpose of the continuing education on setting individual campus goals for early childhood literacy in mathematics and college and career and military readiness is to facilitate board meetings. Again, board members, I will say, training is to help us as board members. Therefore, as you continue to read down, the minimum continuing education requirement also provides us instruction in school board behaviors that are correlated with improved student outcomes. Going on under BBE local, board authority, the board has final authority to determine and interpret policies that govern the schools and subjects to the mandate and limits imposed by state and federal authorities. Under BBE local, a board member who wishes to visit a campus or school facility in their official capacity shall notify the superintendent. The superintendent's office shall coordinate the visit with the principal or supervisor, and a board member shall adhere to posted requirements to the visitors to first report to the main office or district facility. At no time, this is in BBE local, shall a board member visit a campus, school program, or district facility in attempt to evaluate personnel, which I believe President Smith, you just said, was violated. Under BBF local, again, this is policy. Board member ethics that was adopted. Promise keeping. I will govern with excellence. This self-discipline of excellence applies to my attendance, assisting in meetings beginning on time, and being prepared for all meetings. Also, I will work for the benefit of all students, not focusing on the needs of any one group to the exclusion of others. Law abidance and civic duty under the ethics also says that the trustee will obey rules and laws. It doesn't say necessarily that you have to do it only if there's really strong teeth. You're just supposed to obey the law. I will make no personal promise or take private action that may compromise my performance or responsibilities. Again, this is in policy. I will not use my position for personal gain or exert undue influence on others. I will respect the majority decisions as a decision of the board, and I will consistently uphold all applicable laws, rules, policies, and governance procedures. This is all in our policy. Board member ethics also says in pursuit of excellence that we will seek continuing education that will enhance our abilities, y'all, to fulfill our duties effectively. In light of all that, I will say that board operating procedures wanted to make sure that we underscored. We talked about how important it was for board members to go get their training. Therefore, under there, we've also talked about board member violations, because if you don't go get your training, if you don't know how to do your job, then you do have issues. And we did talk about willful violation, as y'all mentioned earlier. Under addressing board member violations, in the event of a board member's willful violation of policy, the board will seek remedy. The board can implement the following corrective action steps. The training needs to be a requirement in areas of violation. The member can be removed from board committees, removed from district committees, and financial support to go out of town to trainings. There are trainings here in town the board member can take until the training in the area of violation has been fulfilled. Also, according to our board operating procedures, if required training as a result of violations are not completed within a specific time period, then non-compliance will be posted on the board's member page until compliance is achieved. Finally, I will say, board, as I'm looking at our policies, our rules, our regulations, state law, I believe our board operating procedures tries to emphasize how important that is. So under board relationships, it says that trustees shall not use their position to coerce or intimidate school staff, students, or members of the community. And trustees shall not use their position to interfere with the day-to-day operations of the school district. Based on the evidence from the district, from the repeated evidence that even Trustee Gauthier has presented at board meetings, and what y'all have talked about tonight, I believe is in violation of state law, policy, board operating procedures.
I just want to make another comment that board operating procedures are approved every December during our board retreat. Trustee Gauthier has refused to sign those board operating procedures, which I can only assume by our conversation tonight that he does want separate rules than the rest of the team of 6. That also board retreat has been available for everyone to attend and to give feedback. Again, Paul Gauthier, the trustee, has refused to acknowledge or participate in that process and even agreed to sign those procedures. Any other comments? All right, board members, I am going to, Paul Gauthier, his relief that he has requested. I have noticed that number 1 and number 2 have been provided to Paul Gauthier already. So this committee needs to decide for numbers 3, 4, and 5.
Madam President, I move that we deny the remainder of the request Trustee Gauthier has requested.
I second.
A motion from Trish, a second from Sade. Any discussion? No? All in favor? 3 ayes, motion passes. All right. It is now, what time is it? Sorry, it's okay, I should have a watch. It is 8:14 p.m. and having no further business, this meeting of the Leander ISD Board Grievance Committee is adjourned.